Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Lines Forever. Today, I have a 3v3 ladder match here on the most amazing Necroxus map generator. Let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players. Starting off with Team 1 here in the northwest corner, it is Team Blue, and down here in the southeast corner, it is Team 2, known as Red Team. Let's go ahead and introduce our players. Starting off with the northernmost portion of the map here for Team 1, it is Immense Karma going first, land as an Aeon in Amethyst Purple, and he is a 1040 rated player. In the middle slot here, we have Mambo going first, land in Royal Blue as a Seraphim. He is a 1500 rated player. Last but not least, here for Team 1, it is Cool McGurr going first, land in Stitch Blue as another Aeon, and he is a 1250 rated player. Over Team 1 side of things, they have 2 Aeon, 1 Seraphim. They do not have access to Cybrin or UEF technology. Here to the southeast for Team Red, starting off with the Chevy Crimson player of Howl Bastek going first, land second air as a UEF, and he is a 1400 rated player. To his east, we have Inf 23, Chico 23, I'll call him Chico for short, going first, land in Orange to color orange as a Cybrin. He is a 1100 rated player. And last but not least here for Red Team, it is C-Star going first, land as an UEF in Ruby Red, and he is, and second air, and he is a 1300 rated player here. The average is about a 99% rating for game balance, and the difference in rating in terms of averages between the players and teams, it is 7 points. So very, very close-knit group. You can see everywhere between a 1000 to a 1500. Those two players residing on the same team. But let's go ahead and check on mass here really quick, and we can see what our players are now up to after that. We have a decent amount of mass here on the map so far, 15,000 for 6 players. That's about, shoot, what's that math? Like 2,000, 2,500, I think, is the math. I think that sounds about right. 2,500 mass per player. Not that every player is going to get that, but, you know, it is going to be as close as it can be, at least for these frontline players. And in terms of mass point layouts and what I'm thinking our players are going to fight over, this section of the map very much going to be fought over. The northeastern side, very impassable in terms of land units. And I feel like there'll be some drops here to this eastern side and this northern side, but I feel like a lot more of the action is going to happen with these 4 mexes and these 4 mexes here. In the middle of the map, we also have a set of mexes along this ridge line here. But again, there's really nothing in this territory that our players are going to really go after. A couple of mexes in the middle with some rocks, but there's really no like mass point reason to go after that. So we'll see how time goes on. We have a drop out here from Team 2's player of C-Star going for something. Don't know what he's going for. Maybe for some early reclaim. I don't see much of anything. We have a couple of these Selens out here from Team 1's player of Mambo. Nice little Vanguard. And all 3 are taken out in one bombing run. That is 3 kills registered on that Scorcher. Good on... actually, that is from Hal Bastek getting that intel denied on his opponent. We do have the comm of Infam moving forward. Sorry, Chico moving forward to claim his 4 mexes here. In the middle of the map, we do have air scouts buzzing over the top here for both teams, getting a nice readout on enemy layouts and early movements. Team 1 doesn't really know a lot about Team 2, but Team 2 knows a lot more than Team 1 does about their opponent, so they are leading that game in terms of early intel, and early intel isn't really that important. It's nice to know where, if like comms are moving or something, but it's really not the most important thing. So don't worry about like, oh, I have to get an air scout out at like 3 minutes. Like, you don't have to. It's nice to have, but it's not necessarily a like you must do it or you will lose kind of thing. A group of engineers building a T1 autogun to protect their installations as they get some very early and very aggressive land factories out. The comm of Cool McGurr is on his way to deal with those, but there is a PD in the area, so he'll be a little bit dissuaded. We'll see if he ends up going to just run full bore into them. I don't really think so. But I do see a naval factory here for Mambo here in the water section. We also have Chico and Halbastek moving to that position as well. Both of those players are getting into the water as well, so we'll have to see how that goes on for both of our teams. The autogun is opening fire. He's focusing on the engineers first, trying to deny enemy reinforcements or building up of land facilities. That autogun's defenses are down. Megura does not, barely drops into the yellow. There is going to be an AA gun built, but this position will die here very quickly. Unfortunate here for Team 2. Team 1 is making some progress to the east. These Thams going after some Mantis here, trying to deny this position here for Team 2's player of Chico. That frigate was warded off. This naval facility has stopped its production. Does look like Halbastek might be going for maybe a reclaim operation. I don't really know. It would have been very smart for Chico to build a sub. The frigates cannot target the subs, and so it would have been free damage essentially. The frigates do have a couple of AA guns on their ships, but these engineers might land. There they go. It was a nice hot drop. That transport gets taken out very quickly. These are engineers. These are strikers going after that intel installation. Nice grab here by Team 2's player of Halbastek, denying enemy radar. Actually, he's even going to finish them off. He's going to go for the mexes first and then the radar. There goes all those mexes. There's one more left to kill. It's still online. Denied the enemy intel already. We have some Zui here to deal with those strikers. There goes that intel installation with one shot. Only has 10 hit points. Isn't known for its survivability. Team 2, in terms of eco, is leading the game by about 15 mass per second. About 3,000 mass in total. Mass accrued. Not really a huge issue here for Team 1 to have to claw their way back. But if this distance between the teams does accelerate, Team 1 is in a really world of hurt here. Couple of frigates here in the main production facilities for Team 2, trying to just deny Team 2 the ability to get into that naval game. But it does look like Halbastek has taken out the naval facility for Team 1's play of Mambo. So these are the only naval units on the field for them. Definitely going to hurt Team 1 in their efforts to secure the middle of the map, because they could easily have built T2 Seraphim cruisers and just deny a whole bunch of territory. But at this rate, it is not going well for them. It's just going to halt Team 2's progress, not necessarily stop it entirely. Small intel installation here to the west, building a land factory. Very interesting plays coming out from the 1300 rated player of C-Star, trying to do a lot of hot drops, trying to do a lot of just kind of like, how would I describe it? Pretty much just taxing his opponent in terms of his APM. We have Team 2 just essentially ignoring the northeast corner here. A group of Aurora are using their floaty naughtiness to push this eastern side. They don't even have to worry about. The comm of Mambo is on the front lines, taking out T1 units. Comm of Chico is on the eastern edge of that area, and is trying to at least stay out of range of Zui and other threats. Does not want to lose a lot of hit points early on. The comm of Immense Karma is pushing forward with his forces to assist, essentially mimicking what he's doing on this eastern side. Gun damage and range started here for Halbastek in the water. Wants to be very safe from any incoming enemy forces. Scorchers over the top go after the comm and other units. Do miss a couple of their shots. Enemy AA guns will take them out, but they are able to take out a couple of tanks here. Just slow down the incoming oppressive fire from Team 1. Team 2 doesn't really have a lot of defenses or units on line, so this is going to be very difficult for them to repel, at least at the current moment. But the longer this push takes, the more reinforcements are built up, so you got to be very quick with your movements if you're pushing. Team 2 has access to 2 players that have T2 air technology. Team 1 has only 1, and that upgrade is not started. They're building some T2 gunships. I think they're Spectres. Yeah, they're Spectres. And then they're going to probably go for that T3 upgrade here pretty soon. We are at the 10-minute mark. Closely, we should see that upgrade started for a lot of our players, at least the air players. specifically. But Chico's forces are moving in to deal with Mambo. Mambo is continuously pushing the front line. He's going to get his first rank of veterancy here pretty soon. And there he goes. Gets another section of hit points and regen up and running. Be able to survive on that front line a little bit longer. A nice strat snipe or gunship rush would be very prime for Team 2. You just have to watch out. Of course, this is a full share game. They have to be very aware of giving a lot of eco to another player, especially this early on. Mambo is the highest rated player in the game, so it would be a great grab for Team 2 to take him out early. But just because you're lower rated does not mean you should be underestimated. Gun damage range about to finish here for Halbastic in the middle. Range is done for Karma, going for speed. Probably will go for advanced range next. I don't know, maybe not. But with Team 2's constant invasions here to the west side of Team 1's main landmass area, a lot of these mexes are not taken, which gives Team 2 the edge in eco still. Actually, Team 1 has the eco advantage, excuse me. Team 2 has lost this section of mexes, of course, and Team 1, I think, is focusing a little bit more on upgrading. I do see a lot of T2s just kind of dotting the map. The caliber mod makes it very easy to read all the numbers versus reading all the tick marks. A couple of Spectre gunships trying to deal with outlying land facilities, but they are Spectres. They are kind of weak to AA. Trying to do what they can. Gun speed and range going down here for Chico, not Coco. Chico in the middle. Janus over the top here for Team 2 does a decent section of damage to these forces here for Team 1. Transport buzzing around, will get killed off. Don't know why that was really worth it. We'll have to see. Janus comes in once again. Nice engage coming in from that side angle. Deals a ton of damage to those tanks. That NT dogfight is happening over Team 1's forces. But it does look like Halbastek doing the same move he did earlier, just going to reclaim that base. There is 2 subs about to come online, so we'll have to see if he's able to prevent that. And he does. There's only 1 sub online. Team 1 wins the little NT war over the water, but again, it's Team 1 air, and we're at 12 minutes, so not really a huge victory. A victory nonetheless, but it does look like a wing of Janus are en route to go after T2 P-Gens would be my guess. Here they come. That P-Gen is going to be lit up with napalm. It is destroyed. Those Janus are going to come in once again and deal another blow to something. Well, they're going for the facility itself. It's at 65% of being completed. Probably the best thing would be to take out the engineers assisting or the other P-Gen to deny eco. But the Janus do get at least 1 more pass in. Are they going to get it? I don't know. It's going to be close. The bombs are dropped. Oh, 150 hit points left remaining, but there's 1 more bomber inbound. Is it going to be enough? Some of the engineers were singed in that, and the T2 air headquarters goes down for Team 1. That is going to set them back a decent amount of time here. In the middle, war is constantly raging here between these 2 teams. Team 1 has gained a little bit of ground and is building mexes on the outskirts of this facility. Is it really worth it? Within a minute, those mexes pay for themselves. So, yeah, it's kind of worth it. So, I don't know about. I think it is worth it, but again, it's kind of one of those like, is it worth the APM? Is essentially what it is. But Immense Charisma leading his team on the prowl here, trying to deny enemy infrastructure and defenses coming online. Was that Janus fired at by a Mambo? No, okay, it just looked like it was. But I did see a Janus flying around the map, dealing eco damage constantly against these mexes. Team 2 has a very concerted effort of denying technology and eco while their teammate focuses on defense with 2 players. So essentially 1 player is taxiing 2 players while the second one on Team 2 is in the water kind of hanging out, kind of microing his air forces, and then the other player on Team 2 focusing on ecoing up, or actually building up his apparently T2 Stinger gunship wing. He should be going T3 at this stage. Doesn't really need to go a bunch of gunships. I know he wants to probably take out one of the comms, but I mean, getting T3 would just cement your victory in the air. Team 1 does have T2 air, but that's all they got. So they have to constantly rebuild, and they're losing eco constantly. Just due to that Janus pressure here from Team 2. Immense play here by Halbastek, using his technology to his advantage. He's going T3 at the current moment. And it does look like Team 2's player of C-Star not going into tech yet. Wanted to get a group of gunships up. I do understand the temptation it is to go after the 2 comms on the front lines, but you got to think about the eco. You have to take out the eco first, essentially, which is what Halbastek is trying to do, is just delay the inevitable, but delay his opponent, taking on a lot of eco. Going after G-Gens. Yeah, no, just going after just whatever he can, I guess. Not really worth it. Those gunships are called forth. They're going to target Mambo directly, take out the highest rate player in the game first. There is a couple of AA emplacements. Mambo is under serious threat here. He's below 2,000 hit points and dropping pretty quickly. The AA pressure is going to help assist. Will they get the calm kill? 600, 800 hit points. That is still a decent amount of hit points for those stingers to have dealt with. It's going to force Mambo back. If Team 2 wants that kill, all they have to do is build some Janus, and they have it. But this is going to this will force Mambo back. He has to go back. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that situation. He's going to go for a nano repair. Team 2, this is their advantage. Oh, this is their advantage. This is their chance to go after him. He's rooted to the spot. A couple of stingers going to start raiding their opponents. Stealth on the way here for Chico in the middle of this fray here. Immense versus Halbastek. Halbastek has the gun. Immense has the range and speed upgrade. So it's essentially, I don't know if it's a 1-to-1 scenario, but 9,000 hit points to 10,000. And Immense Cromer will retreat. Mambo is at 35%. He's already back up to 2,000 hit points. So the time to kill him was then. It won't be now with that nano upgrade going to be online here soon. Those hit points will start flying up. But again, it was a good move by Team 2 to at least halt the momentum here for Team 1. If anything, they didn't get the kill, but they stopped the momentum. So that's better than nothing. T2 Cerberus turrets are online with stealth on the way for Chico. Wants to just try to get in Team 1's way. T2 destroyers making their appearance here on the center, what would you call this, lake? Pond? Water, body of water. Nano is done in about a minute. 82 hit points a second will definitely assist in that regen. But again, more and more just annoying things here happening on the western side for Team 1 to deal with. You have engineers constantly dropping, units constantly diverted from the front lines to deal with this, APM constantly being taxed. There is another T2 headquarters that's just going to die outright. Team 1's player of Cool McGurr trying to get back in the air game, but just constantly getting beat down. They still don't have T3 air tech as of yet. They're building some swift wings to help assist in that, counter ASF and interceptor production. But 2 players on Team 2 now have access to T3 air technology, and strat bombers might start being built up here, or even just T3 broadswords. Like, that could also be a thing too. And I never mentioned this before, but in terms of racial makeup, we have a Cybran and 2 UEF. So the Aeons and the Seraphim have grouped together to fight the Cybrans and the UEF in this game. Who knows who will prevail? Essentially, it's not 50-50 in terms of map control. It's about, I don't know. I feel like there's more, not effort, but more valuable things in terms of mexes here on this eastern side that Team 1 has access to. But Team 2 is constantly trying to just deny Team 1 whatever foothold on this side of that lake? Pond? Still going to say pond. That they can. A group of T2 blazes. They float. And they are on their way. They're going after that naval production facility. They are pinged by Team 2. Pauses and resumes, going on to just... Geez, they're still going on. Need 2 minutes to C-Star. Maybe he had to go to the bathroom or something. These matches can get pretty long. And the pause... Geez, how many pauses there going to be? Looks like the Hornets' necks might have been punctured. Mambo trying to do his best to hold that front line. It couldn't. He has 92 hit points on that commander, so he can take a beating and regen pretty quickly as well. Immense trying to use his range to his advantage. He has the advanced on his commander. He is the Aeon Sniper commander. T2 Blazes trying to take out this HQ, but it does look like some broadswords would be able to deal with most of this. They might still get it though. Oh, it's not going to be close. Team 1 has it. They're denying T2 naval technology against their opponent, but no one else is in the water at this point. So is it really... I mean, it's a loss for Team 2, but it's not... It is a win, but it's not really a win for Team 1, if that makes sense. It's more of just a denial. Team 1 still does not have access to T3 air technology. And really, they're going for the upgrade back in their main base of Cool McGurr, but those gunships could have easily been dealt with by some ASFs. And that force of tanks definitely could have been a nice asset for these two comms on the front line. But to Mambo's credit, he did not retreat back to his main base. He is still fighting that front line. He will not let go. Team 1, this is their saving grace here, constantly trying to push back Team 2, trying to just essentially encircle the entire pond here in the middle. They have a force over here to the east just kind of hanging out, but that's more of just the gonna sit there and wait kind of thing. But this tanky forward operating base is starting to be built up here for Team 2. We have Cerberus turrets trying to do their best at taking out Team 1 forces. I don't see a lot of T2 in this mix here for these frontline comms. I see a lot of Thams, a couple of Blazes. I don't see a lot of Ilshis. I see some AA cannons, but not really like the main battle units. I don't see any Oblivions. Oblivions would be great in this mix here for Team 1. Couple of Oblivion turrets are... I'm sorry, Obsidians, not Oblivions. These are Oblivions. There is a fire base war going on currently. More and more PD. Even T1 AA. Very interesting. Not flak, but just regular AA. It's kind of interesting. Missile launchers being used. We're in that stage of the game. We have hit the 21, almost 22 minute mark. Let me know how you feel about the match so far with a like or a comment down below, and you've been enjoying the match so far, or just most of the stuff on the channel. Let me know by subscribing to the channel. I greatly appreciate the support. T2 power gen to assist with the regen of the shield. That's what was making the cost of the shield less, to be fair. It does look like Mambo is starting to retreat a little bit, leaving Karma to the front line here. He doesn't want some sort of experimental coming in and just killing two comps at the same time. Definitely would be very, very annoying for Team 1. They almost lost Mambo to be, in the beginning. They don't want to lose him now. Percy's starting to be on the field here for Hal Bastek. He has some gunships in tow as well. He's getting into the air and land game. And we saw Chico going into the naval game. Has stopped doing that for now, but a lot of those forces for Mambo are retreating. This base here to the west has proved very annoying for Team 1 to deal with. Maybe that's where he's going with all his units? I don't really know what's going on. You would think he would just keep them on the front line to assist, but it's going to essentially force immense Karma back as well, just due to that fact. But the shield is down against this fire base, and a couple of engineers are killed off. There's a couple of PD in this mix. They're trying to take out the shield. The shield is holding for now, but units are going to rush in to deal with this base. A couple of floating units here for Team 1. These Yenzine and Blazes going to start grouping up, but a group of broadswords are just going to eviscerate those units, so definitely not the best place to put them. They're trying to charge forward, but they aren't going to go anywhere, so definitely a disappointment in that regard for Team 1. And that firebase has been dealt with. Immense Karma trying to do something by having a back forward line, but or secondary line, but I don't know how it's going to go right now. Strap Bomber over the top takes out a group of engineers on that gun. PD construction. That was a nice grab, taking out those engineers and one of the guns that already finished. We have some ASFs going to... Actually, these aren't ASFs. These are Swift Winds, which they aren't super weak. I mean, we can see how fast they take out some broadswords. Not as fast as ASFs, but, it's still quicker than antis. A couple of these broadswords still alive somehow. There goes one. There goes two. A couple more brought to assist. small little outpost are going to be attacked by a couple of these mech marines. Actually, not a couple, a decent amount of mech marines. T1AA just going to run into those broadswords. One of them is still alive. Oh, and I tried to go after probably either the comm or PGen. Didn't really go their way, but just assassinating all of these mechs is constantly by Team 2. Team 1 is really suffering in the eco games. They're at 348 versus 538, almost a 200 mass advantage. We have a T2 Barracuda sub killer, going after Mumbo. He's building some torp launchers to assist in his defense. Team 2 hasn't gone back into the naval game. They probably should, just due to the fact that Team 1 is starting to devote more resources to do so. But Mech Marines do get back in that backline. They get back in this base here against Cool McGurr, and you have T1 Mech Marines shooting T2 Swiftwinds. That's just, it's really, not annoying would be the word that I would use, but just it hurts when you see only ground units targeting only air units. It's just, like, they shouldn't be landed, they should be flying around, but a decent amount of forces are crossing the pond and getting into Team 2's mexes here. There's a group of T3 fully ringed mexes, but they're going to be forced to retreat by the overwhelming air pressure, and that has been their huge advantage here because they denied air for so long against Team 1. They have a nice advantage, and they're going to use it for as long as they can. We are seeing the emergence of T3 assault bots here for Karma in the middle. It is the Harbinger versus the Percy here. Lasers are doing their work to try to hold off enemy forces, but Percys have a target, and they are going after the Harbingers. They're going to die, though, unfortunately. But now the momentum swings in Team's 2 direction. Broadswords combined with Percys is a very deadly combination. We have essentially another base war here to the east against Team 2, but these miasmas are starting to suffer under missile fire, which is surprising because Team 1 has access to volcanoes, so they should be using those constantly, but they're not for some reason. The gunships are targeted once again. One gunship alone remains. T1AA gonna just slowly try to chew those hit points. Immense Karma is going to retreat with an additional gunship making its appearance. And you can see even just 2 gunships can really just force a combat. Thousands of hit points being knocked. Actually, it's really like 100. But still, a lot of hit points just being knocked out. That gunship's still online somehow at no health now. It's dead. But just forcing the comms back for Team 1 does give a lot of breathing room to Team 2. They need to focus on this production facility. They don't want those gunships. They don't want those cruisers coming online and messing with Team 2's infrastructure and eco. They built up a lot of eco. They need to keep that lead if they want to win this game. They have done a lot of work just being annoying against Team 1 here on this western side. Cool McGurr having to play a land and air game at the same time and not suffering, but really isn't living to his full potential as an air player because of it. Having to constantly build forces to just deal with this. And Mambo just sends everything to intercept, which again diverts even more forces off the front line. So it's kind of difficult. Need to leave. Will hand over. Get ready. Says G-Star. It's really disappointing when you see players having to leave for any other reason other than they died. Like, it's just really hard to watch that. You see it and you're like, I don't like it personally. I know, life happens, and sometimes you have to get away from the game, but it's just like, I don't like. It's like when someone quits a game because they're just like, oh, it's not fun anymore or whatever. I'm like, you should stick it out to the end at least. But there are, life does get in the way. So I will let C start off of the pass this time. But we do have Harbingers pushing against Percys here in the middle. We had it the other way around, but the Harbingers are outnumbering the Percy. Shields will help assist with this, but T1 Scorchers will come over the top and just completely, mostly miss against those Harbingers. The transfer of control has been given over to C-Star. If he could just walk those over and not let all his build power die, that'd probably be great here for Team 2. He's going to build RAS. Or maybe he just left and is going to stay in the game. So at least that's, you know, that's something. At least he didn't like leave. He just kind of left. Gifted everything over but one mech marine. How Bastek builds the first experimental of the game. It is a Fatboy. Team 1 does not have access to the cheapest experimental, which is the monkey. But they should be building a chicken here pretty soon. Don't see one in either of the bases here. You would think it's being built by Team 1, but apparently not. There is considerable effort to get T2 Naval Tech locked down here for Team 1's player Amambo. Just a decent size of ASF grouping starting to emerge here for Team 2's players. How Bastek, he's on 2 bases now, so that'll severely increase his eco, and he's going to send all of this build power to his main air grid, probably just to pump out a bunch of things. He's going for T2, probably will go for T3 for more teching up, and just getting more hit points on his commander. Percy's still making their way forward. A large group of Harbingers has been built up, but every time they fall back, Team 2 gains some ground. And that's a lot of high alpha damage here coming off those Percys. They need to be very careful. 3 shot, actually it's 4 shots technically. And every shot that Team 2 misses, it's another shot that Team 1 gets to live with his Harbingers. But more and more are appearing for the lines here for both teams. It looks like it's starting to favor Team 1, especially with the increased firepower from the Utashalas. But it does look like Team 2 might starting to be looking in a bad way. They don't have a lot of defenses. They do have this Fatboy, to be fair, so they have that. Team 1 has a decent amount of firepower coming off of these T2 cruisers. I will not try to pronounce that name right now, just because I don't know if I could pronounce it. Athalua, maybe? But again, I'm bad at pronouncing those Seraphim names. It's usually better when I hear somebody else pronounce it, and then I can say it a lot better, of course, than me trying to just sound it out. So sometimes I may think that one letter might be pronounced one way and it's not. It's pronounced another way, that kind of thing. There's a lot of PD here for Team 1, so this position will probably sit for a little bit until the miasmas deal with it. You look at all the mexes that have been denied constantly by Team 2 on this western side, just severely damaging Team 1's eco. You know, Team 2's play of How Bastek with 2 bases, almost at 500 mass alone. Actually, he's producing more mass than the entire enemy team combined, which is a huge feat, considering it's, again, 1v3. But C-Star does give off that Control K, and all of those engineers did end up leaving, so none of them will die. I like to watch the explosions, though. They're fun. Kaboom. Doesn't do a lot of damage to buildings, but would have killed all of those engineers, so good on the player of How Bastek for moving them. Another Fatboy built, and that's going to go after this position. T3 artillery from these triads, from these trebuchets, just doing massive damage to this position in the water. The cruisers cannot build enough missiles fast enough to deal with this incoming threat. And now the front line here for Team 1 will start to crumble. Harbingers have to be either kept in reserve or just shoved forward. I would love to see... Oh, it does look like he is producing T2 skyboxers on that experimental just to help assist in AA efforts, which is good because they're cheaper than Cougars, but they're more designed for taking out gunships and sort of that sort of unit. But the Perseus will be used as a defensive line to hold off the incoming Harbinger threat. That shield is almost gone, and it's producing shields. Now Percy's being produced on the back of that Fatboy. And the Harbingers are chasing it right now, trying to catch up with it. Fatboy trying to produce what it can. Run away from the Harbingers. Trying to get back to base. There are some broadswords brought in to help assist that will shoo off those Harbingers, but of course there's a second Fatboy online on the front line, so Team 1 really has to watch out. They need their own experimental. And I feel like the best place to do that would be just across the pond here in the middle. There are a couple of bricks with torpedoes on their chassis, so looks like their main goal is to get to land. And again, just annoy Team 1. I feel like that is the main goal whenever there's units or whatever on this western side, is just annoy Team 1. Take out eco and annoy. Tax up that APM. That way they can Team 2 can focus on other pursuits while Team 1 is dealing with some annoying threat here to the west. And Team 2 did clear out this threat to the east. Haven't gone off to those mixes until I say something, of course. But we'll start to go after those mixes and get some more eco back up and running. Team 2 about to cross the 900 mass per second mark. It is 34 minutes in the game. And Team 1's probably best hope is to end the game somehow quickly. Team 2 hasn't done that as of yet. But of course, Team 1 is pretty busy doing a whole lot of other things, trying to just stop the bleeding here on the western side, which they have done, to be fair. But they haven't focused on much anything else. Colossus almost done here for Karma. We have that chicken being built by Mumbo. So they'll have 2 experimentals. But this Fatboy has lost its shields. It's gone in very close, though, unnecessarily. Could have just sat at range. I know its secondary guns wants to open up, but not worth it. It's they're gonna lose the Fatboy straight up just due to the fact that the shield is down, and that is the threat of moving that Fatboy too close. I know it tried to get in range of or out of range of the artillery, but it was the Utashalas that really killed it. That has got to hurt. The secondary Fatboy is online with its shield still online as well. You can see the artillery puncturing those shields, constantly just being annoying to them. Nice counter to Fatboy's T2 artillery, just because the Fatboy moves slow enough for the artillery to fire. But this position will fall. Team 1 really needs that Colossus or Chicken to just come in and assist. Harbingers are coming into range. There are Perseus being built on the back that will help assist, but it does look like the second Fatboy will go down. Oh, it's going to be close, though. Dropping below 1,200 hit points, and it's gone. This artillery base has essentially been dealt with, but Team 2 has lost 2 Fatboys. That is a decent chunk of mass. 15,000 mass on each of them, so essentially 30,000. Neither Team 1 wants Team 2 to get it, or Team 2 wants Team 1 to get it. But a Colossus will definitely cement Team 1's position here in the middle of the map. There's more and more bricks just being annoying here for Team 1. We are seeing more torps being produced to just deal with them. But I don't see any effort to just lock off the pond. Team 2 isn't fighting even back in the pond, so Team 1 owns it and has been owning it for a while. A third Fatboy makes its appearance, and that Colossus is moving straight in. You need to turn that Fatboy around as soon as that laser gets in range. That is it. The Fatboy doesn't care. He's going to go for it, which is probably a misclick or something, but doesn't care now. The Fatboy's going to turn around. A little too late on that, though. Shield's trying to come in and assist. There goes a Percy off into the distance. The Fatboy is taken out. Oh, man, that's got to hurt. Trying to revenge its brethren, but gets killed in the process. There's not enough Perseus to really deal with this Colossus. Team 1 has a decent amount of momentum behind them. That Colossus is essentially sub 50% of its hit points. Team 2 has a chance, but a lot of this infrastructure will be gone. The defenses will be gone as well. Once they take out the Colossus, the Harbingers will have to retreat. There's no AA. Oh, there's like some AA. But Sniper Bot's pushing forward. Don't need to, though. Don't really need to do that. They can sit at range. Artillery will just pick them off, and they're actually gone now. But a fourth Fatboy has been constructed and completed. The Colossus will have to retreat. It went too far deep, and for that, it's going to die. The Harbingers could be best used to just scoop up the mass on their way back. Colossus will turn back around to take out some more artillery. There's nothing really firing at her now. Colossus at 6,000 hit points. Team 2 needs to finish it off. There it goes. Gonna finish it off now. Takes out some more defenses, and there it goes. Harbingers can easily have scooped up that section of mass. They've already taken one of them. There's 2 more to scoop up. Team 2 has donated essentially 2, almost 3 Fatboys. Team 1 has donated 1 Colossus. Overwhelming pressure from these cruisers starting to puncture their way through this defensive line of buzzkills. 4 mexers are down. Team 2 starting to lose their eco. We talked about they almost crossed 900. Now they're essentially 800. We see a couple of fervors here. It looks like there was a drop early on. They've taken out 1 T3 max. They're going to go for 2 more of them. They don't get it, but still denying eco at every turn is a good move to win. But you got to have a plan after that. You can't just do, okay, take the eco out. Then what? You got to like finish the game. They're still alive. They still have eco. You got to do something. Giant sound keeps cutting out. Yeah, it is a little frustrating when you hear, a bomb go off and then 10 minutes later you're like, wait, where'd my sound go? And then it comes back and you're like, I don't know what's going on anymore. But luckily, I don't know what I ended up doing, but I don't have that issue anymore, which is nice. And I don't have the issue where the game randomly crashes. I think it's because I had Steam open, I think is what it was. So if you play this game and Steam is open, just close Steam because it somehow messes with the connection or stability or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but it does mess with it somehow. But there is a Colossus en route to this Fatboy once again. It's the same matchup. That Fatboy needs to turn around immediately. Team 2 does not have eyes on that Colossus specifically. It does look like he is going to turn around. Nope. Oh. Nope, there it goes. Okay, if he doesn't notice now, he notices now. He got to turn that thing around. Nope. Well, that's another Colossus that's going to kill a Fatboy. This one's got to turn around. Team 2's player of Halbestek may not be paying attention all the time to that. And he's lost 2 Fatboys so far to that move. The third one's going to turn around. The fourth one? Fifth one? Whatever number we're on. It's just not going to go well here for Team 2's player of Halbestek with his Fatboys. First, he's trying to do what they can to keep them online. But that Colossus is coming into range here pretty quickly. The laser has started to wear down its shield. It's a larger group of Harbingers behind it and Spectre gunships to boot. Team 2 needs its air. There is a monkey and an additional Fatboy back here. That's a lot of Fatboys. The laser will open up. Essentially, it's going to be just a suicide pack by this monkey to delay the Colossus. It does look like he will kill it. The monkey will die soon after that, but at least would have halted that Colossus here. Essentially right next to his brother. Dies essentially at the same time. That's still a lot of harbs for Team 2 to deal with. But there are some bricks and artillery to help assist as well. And it does look like Team 2 will be able to hold off this threat once again, but still Team 1 making a lot of progress. They just don't have enough oomph to get through that line. Don't see any efforts to end the game. There's no nukes that I can see. There's no Novaxes. There's no really anything. Another group of fervors land down south. Team 2's eco is just being assassinated constantly. Team 1's doing a very good job of using their tactics against their own. Using Team 2's tactics against themselves by trying to just bother Team 2 constantly, essentially. I don't see any other movement or more chickens, more air facilities. Another air grid. Love to see that decentralization of air grid. Same thing over here. No, that's just a pigeon and mass fat farm, so no. Yeah, there's really no effort to end the game. At 41 minutes, you would think that somebody would have started an artillery or something. I mean, I get, 8 Fatboys is critical mass of Fatboys, but still, you got to have some plan to end the game. If you don't have one, you're not going to have any, and if you don't have any, then you're not going to win. You got to intentionally win. You can't just be like, oh, that's fine. What's interesting here is we have a chicken that's been hiding in rate. It is going to emerge from the water. Team 2 immediately spots it. There was a Percy that was just hanging out. It's going to go after this Fatboy producing facility here to the east. Where are the gunships there for Team 2? Well, there are none. So it does look like these Fatboys will kind of be on their own. The chicken has already dropped below 75% and is dropping pretty quickly. T1 bombers are going to help deal with this, dropping below 50% of their hit points. It does look like the chicken was trying to assassinate the Fatboy, but taking out the SMD is also a good idea. Oh, there it goes. Takes out the SMD. Didn't see how many was loaded, but this position will fall. The chicken does make some progress, but Team 1 doesn't have a nuke, so kind of... pointless isn't the wrong word I would use, but pointless for lack of a better word. Because, yeah, it's cool you took out an SMD, but if you can't use that to your advantage, then what's the point? SMDs aren't super expensive to make, so not really that dire. Engineers trying to just reclaim, but get killed immediately. You can't take out the ion storm, so there's no point in sending units in. The ion storm can't target air units that have landed for some reason. Don't know why. It just... they can't do it, so So maybe just a limitation on that code or something. But two Fatboys in the middle once again. Team 1 not really scooping up the Fatboy Rex. We have a shield protecting the mass, but don't know what that's about. There it goes. There goes that Fatboy. Or Fatboy shield, I should say. Team 1 has rebuilt their artillery installation. A lot of Utashalas. Here, even more Utashalas. There's no artillery. Another group of Harbingers making their way on the front line. Team 2 has invaded the water to the northeast. Looks like that is their target with those Harbingers. And it's going to land right on top of everything. SAM sites won't kill. Oh, it does kill one of the transports with Harbingers that just took too long to land. Oh, that's going to hurt. Man, that has got to hurt. Two Fatboys still patrolling this center lane here for Team 2. It does look like Team 2 is starting to recover from that massive amount of invasions. You can see there's even more T1 Zooey been built up with some lightning tanks and Othams. Very interesting. Kind of doing the same approach, but just kind of preparing for the incoming land invasion. But the Fatboys are pushing forward once again. There's not as much artillery as there was last time. This does give them a nice opening, and the Utushalas are pretty nicely packed. So a lot of the defenses are going offline at the same time. More shields are trying to be built. Shields come back online, but the artillery from the Fatboys are known to take out shielding, so they don't really last very long in terms of staying online. T2 Naval Headquarters is taken out. There is a Salem nearby. Its AA is doing a decent amount of work against these T1 bombers, but again, not a lot of work. One of them does make landfall on the other side of the map, dealing damage to T3 mexes on that side of the map against Karma. We're at 45 minutes. Another chicken for T1 will kill two Fatboys. Team 2's player of Halbaz not sacrificing them intentionally, I hope. But a lot of Fatboys have died here. The chicken is going to be outranged by that crab, and that crab will kill it. Another Colossus is en route with a bunch of support. We have shields coming in. We have Percy's coming in. Trying to hold off this threat. We are at 46 minutes. We have cruisers here in the middle of the map here for Team 1. Still just trying to puncture this position, but there's even more defenses. And now a shield going to come online to help assist. So this position not going to fall quite easily. A couple of Otham siege tanks just roaming the western side of the map. But Team 2 doesn't really have a way to end the game. Neither does Team 1. They do have a nuke, though. Did not notice that. So they do have a nuke launcher. If Team 2 didn't build an SMD here, which they did not, this air grid is under threat. There's one over here, but Team 2 has their own nuke, and it's currently loading. Very interesting. We'll see which one fires first. The crab will not be taken out by the Colossus, but it's going to be close. These Harbingers are going to assist quite well. Decent amount of Redeemers in the mix as well. Lots of NGs being annihilated by the incoming Harbinger threat. They were just trying to feed their families with mass, but sadly were cut down in their prime. Multiple Harbingers going down to that crab. And now that push has been petered out once again. It's just there's no ground gaining on either side. ASFs are screening for something. Does look like Team 2 has spotted the Otham push with a couple of fervors. I think they're trying to go after some ridge play, but there's some SAM sites helping to assist the defending mexes and TMD. Does look like they'll notice that and be like, we got to deal with that now. Team 2's play of Halbaz, it looks like it's going after something. Don't know what it's going after, but a decent column of Percy's under the water doing what they can to just infiltrate that front line. I really don't know what they were going after. Oh, weird. But they're going to start making landfall, and now those torps only work in water. Nuke from Team 1 lands. Where is it? Will land. Where is it going? This one is loaded. Is it? It is in range, so that nuke will be dissuaded by an incoming anti-nuke missile. But the Percy's here for Team 2's play of Halbestic will be assaulted by that chicken. Chicken not going to let this front stand using the water to their advantage. They don't like that. There goes the missile. Oh. Takes that out. Crab pushing once again against the Colossus. The Crab is severely wounded. There are some bricks to help assist with defense, but it does look like that Crab is seen its better days. It's going to die to this Colossus. Oh, it's going to drop the Colossus into the red, though. The best thing for this Colossus to do would be just to retreat. Team 2's player of Halbestek hasn't built a Fatboy in a while. Don't know what he's doing. I see he's lining up some Novaxes to build. Team 2 is building an artillery installation here from Chico. I really don't see much of anything else. I don't see any artillery. I see... Oh, nope, never mind. There's an emissary being built. Looks like Team 1's having some power issues. But I don't see really any concerted effort to win the game. It's just fight land here. There's a second Colossus here for that front line, but all Team 2 needs to build is build some more crabs, which they're currently doing at the present moment, so not really going to go well. But 2 monkeys versus 2 Colossi, not the best idea. How much reclaim has been scooped up by both teams? Team 1 and Team 2 very close. Only about 20,000 mass differential, which isn't actually that much, considering we're talking about 1.6, 1.5 million mass. Team 2 getting the better end of the deal there in terms of totals. But it does look like this position is starting to fail just ever so slightly. Missiles are slowly getting in. But I don't know if this is really worth the effort here. Yeah, it's just taxing the resources, but it's not that much. And it does look like artillery has been being built to just take out those positions. There's some Ravagers here too. Oh. Where are they? I don't know. Yeah, there's a clean camera right here. But the Colossus are pushing in. They're targeting the monkeys. The defensive nuke is online, and it's behind these Colossus. Those look like they're betting on the Monkey Lord, just keeping them at bay. But that nuke is gonna miss. Oh, it might clip one of the Colossi. Who knows? Oh, it's gonna land a little bit too far away. Yep, takes out most of the harms, but that is it. The bricks are brought in to assist. That is definitely a missed opportunity. No, says Chico with the missed nuke. Team 2 doesn't have any defensive air units. They have a couple of... Oh, no, there's some gunships in the mix. You need to call those forth and help assist with that. What are they doing? I don't know what they're doing here. But now the Colossi are raining on Chico's parade of building crabs. Colossus apparently don't like crab, and it grabs the transport. There it goes, crushing it to death in its mighty grip. The disruptor has been half completed. The first Colossus is now being targeted by broadswords. The disruptor is down. 1400 lol, says Chico. I think he's making a comment about how Bastek, that this whole base is just gone. This Colossus, even though it will die, isn't really going well. Team 1 has been holding off for a long time in terms of just trying to break through. They finally get a break, and now they've done devastating amounts of damage to Team 2's player of Chico. This Colossus will fall. It'll take a second, but it will be taken out. There is a Colossus just on the edge here for Team 1's player of Cool McGurr, and there is a chicken as well just hanging out in the water. Team 2 is now on the back foot here. We have 1 Novax online, the second one being built. If that nuke only landed properly or like in a better position, this position would be a lot better here for Chico. Probably would have lost the crab, but that probably would have been about it. And Team 2's front line is just falling apart. They're starting to be just taken out essentially everywhere. More transports landing here against Team 2's mexes. Chicken comes in to deal with this position that's been vexing him for a long time. Broadsword's coming in to assist. I'm going to take out the chicken first, it looks like, which, I mean, it is the easier target with the, less hit points and whatnot. That's probably a better call, and it will fall very quickly. How's that artillery going on? Well, it's in the yellow, so it's still going, but slowly. And just taking a look at bases, you can just tell that Team 1's built a lot more infrastructure up in their main bases. There is a group of naval units here to the east for Team 2. Defense, says Chico. He needs some defenses online, needs more gunships and whatnot, but he lost a group of mexes once again. Looks like this position's, again, suffering the same fate as that one did. It's constantly being bombarded. We see RASCOMs being built up here for Team 2's player of Halbastek. He's building some shields. Very interesting pattern. Don't know what that's about. Trying to probably protect his comm. But Team 1, when that emissary comes online, this is a nice juicy target. This is a nice juicy target. Chico is not out of the game as of yet, but doesn't really have anything to really fight back with. He needs to get his build power back up. He needs to get, essentially everything. He has a lot of mass to do it. He just needs to scoop it up. But 2 more Colossi are en route. And another nuke is launched. Where is this one going? It's going for the main base against Karma. Does Karma not have an... Well, he has 2 SMD here, but neither of them are loaded. Oh, this might be... Ooh, it might... An SMD is being built currently. There it goes, and it's not going to catch it on the back end. Karma is rooted to the spot on an upgrade. Even if he canceled, he can't get out of the way. This will be the first official kill of the game. Right next to the comm cup, boom, takes out Team 1's player of Immense Karma. Another nuke launches. This time it's from Team 1. This time it's going after this position, which could have been positioned a lot better, to be honest with you, but that's going to take out some mass, and that's it. Not really worth the nuke. What in the world? Oh, I was like, what is going on with them? They're just standing there. Oh, transfer of control. That's they was given control over to Team 1's player Mamba. That's why they weren't targeting. I'm like, but the nuke does land, takes out 2 mexes. Not really worth the nuking, honestly. Colos, don't know what that means, but Colossus for Karma. But again, there's 2 Colossus on the front line. There's really not a whole lot of defenses here. That airgate's going to go pop very quickly. Gunships trying to do what they can, but there's a lot of AA pressure coming off of these flak units, these Ascendants. Ravagers trying to do what they can. T3 strap bombers doing a massive amount of damage to that left Colossus, though. ASF's coming in to protect those strap bombers. They circle pretty far out. But this Fatboy's gone. The Novaxes will be killed off, unfortunately. The nuke launcher did get some work done, got a kill, but not really going to go the way that Team 2's player of Hal really wanted it to go. Colossus going to just be encircled about by a bunch of T3 ASFs here from Halbastek as well. And the death to ASFs is constantly happening. It actually is kind of a tactic to just tax the shots from Harbingers, but it's not really. I don't know. I don't think it's really worth it. Colossus will go down, unfortunately, here for Team 1. The airfight does occur. I think this is the first official airfight of the game in terms of T3 ASF fight. It does look like they're not being microed as well for Halbastek, and Team 1 is getting a nice engage. They're going to have air control here, essentially maybe air dominance here, but Halbastek control Ks. He lost this position. He only has this small air grid. He doesn't really have anything else. And that is it for him. It's just going to be Chico left standing. It is Chico versus the 2 remaining players on Team 1. And I saw this game early on going really one direction, and it really flipped. Looks like it's the beginning of the end here for Team 2. Slowly being enclosed. They don't have any way to fight back. Team 1 has a nuke and a artillery that's actually been paused. They're focusing on nuke production. Another one has been finished. Forgot anti-nuke till too late, says Karma. Yeah, I mean, it does happen. But again, if your team wins, it really doesn't matter what happens to you. It matters if you win or not. But the comm does get pinged, probably by Team 1. Comm, yep, it does get pinged. And that nuke will probably land right on top of that comm. Oh, no, never mind. Nope, strap bombers are coming in. Never mind. Shockers are inbound. There goes the bombing. Boom for Team 1. Team 2 loses their last player, and that is GG's in the chat. Team 1 pulls it out. Mamba was almost killed off very early. It could have been a completely different match, but he held on, and really he was just holding off Team 2 as long as possible. This was the main contention point for the entire game right here in the middle of the map. A lot of mass died here on both sides of the game, so it's just surprising to see really just one team dominated. They lost this whole base, rebuilt it even stronger. Team 2 really couldn't come back once their front line fell, and then Fatboys weren't being produced constantly. And I felt like, you know, assassinating the T2 air headquarters early on was a great move. I just feel like how Baztec kind of just fell off in the mid to late game, and then just couldn't make anything really work. He had a lot of mass to play, which just didn't probably know where to funnel it. Definitely unfortunate. But I feel like underrated player of the game. Ooh, who would I give it to? I mean, Cool did a very good job of coming back in the game. He built the nuke. He built artillery, or is building it as we speak, but built the nuke, gave them a lot of options with that nuke. Could have used that one a little bit better, but, you know, still got a kill. Still won the game. Mamba did a great job of just holding on, surviving, keeping the front line as long as possible. Online as long as possible. There we go. And I feel like, I don't know. This is a game I don't know who to give it to, because I think everyone kind of did the same amount of work. I mean, Albestic had, I think, the underrated player of the game in the beginning and then kind of fell off. Chico didn't, I mean, kind of did the eastern side thing a little bit, but wasn't really having a whole lot of impact for the game. I feel like I just got to give it to Mambo. I feel like even though he's a 1500, I feel like I'm going to give it to him. He held the front line. He almost died. He didn't give up. He came back. He just constantly fought Team 2, did not let up, built these cruisers, kept them online for as long as he can, took out this position. So I feel like I'm going to give it to Mambo. If you feel the same way, let me know. If you don't feel the same way, let me know down in the comments. Like the video if you did, and of course, if you haven't hit that sub button down below the video, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching to the end of my little ramblings. Because sometimes I feel like I just ramble at the end, and you're like, whatever, just let strategic launch, let them ramble on. But thank you so much for watching to the end, and I will see all of you in the next one.